Welcome to Buzzleaps, your daily explainer.
Did you know that right now, 70 million of us are facing an unprecedented workplace transition? Yet historically, up to 40% of workers secretly feel their daily tasks lack true meaning. They just feel empty.
Are you preparing to be managed by a machine, or will you step up to become the architect of your own future? Stick around, because this explainer will completely change how you see AI, your future, and the buzz leaps happening today.
Section 1. The meaningless job myth.
For decades, we've kind of bought into this corporate illusion, right? We equated our fundamental human value with how well we manage the abstraction layer of business. Processing information, moving data around, summarizing reports about other reports. But AI is totally exposing that this white-collar abstraction layer never really held much inherent meaning to begin with. Look at this data from the Boston Consulting Group. It perfectly humanizes this whole macroeconomic shift. When we hear AI, the immediate reaction is usually total panic. But look at the numbers. Over the next few years, only about 10 to 15% of jobs in the US are highly vulnerable to outright elimination. A massive 50 to 55% will just be reshaped, and roughly 34% will remain pretty much unchanged. So the primary outcome here isn't mass unemployment, it's radical transformation. The tasks are changing for sure, but the need for human direction is literally as vital as ever.
So it's absolutely crucial to understand what's actually on the chopping block here. The tasks AI automates first are the exact things that filled our days and gave us this false sense of corporate identity. We're talking drafting documents, initial financial modeling, legal contract review, and even basic code generation. These are the chores that used to consume your entire Tuesday. That exact soul-crushing feeling, right? Spending hours just moving data from a spreadsheet into a slide deck purely to prove you were working? Well, now algorithms handle that whole shebang in seconds. And honestly, that is a huge relief. It strips away the busy work and forces us to confront what actual, irreplaceable value we bring to the table once the rote mechanics of our jobs are totally stripped away.
Section 2. Rise of Agentic AI.
Okay, so we are moving way beyond the era of your basic chatbot. Let's clearly define what this next evolution actually means. Agentic AI refers to autonomous systems that don't just sit there waiting for a single prompt. They plan, they act, and they adapt completely independently. Think of an AI agent kind of like a master sous chef in a commercial kitchen. You don't need to tell a sous chef how to chop every single onion. You just tell them to get the prep station ready for dinner service. Instead of just spitting out a paragraph of text, an agentic system breaks a massive objective down into subtasks. It executes them across different software platforms, and if it hits a roadblock, it revises its approach, all with minimal human intervention. We are officially shifting from simple task automation to full-blown workflow orchestration.
And to really get this, visualizing the sheer scale of this infrastructure is key. We aren't just talking about some neat software update you install on your laptop. We are looking at a sprawling, massive technological framework. Get this, the total addressable market for agentic AI workflows is projected to reach up to $420 billion. That is an enormous influx of capital, and it's not going toward building faster calculators. It's building systems designed to literally act on our behalf. Think about the gravity of that number for a second. It represents a global race to build digital teammates that don't sleep, don't take vacations, and handle all the friction of modern business so that we don't have to.
To put into perspective just how deeply entrenched this already is, look at this staggering finding from EY. By the end of 2025, nearly 50% of all program code on the GitHub platform was written using AI tools. Half of it. And here's the absolute kicker you need to remember. It was done without human intervention. AI agents are out there right now, writing tests, fixing errors, and working for days on end to build the very software infrastructure we all rely on. This tech has already transitioned from a cool novelty to the foundational bedrock of how our digital world operates.
Section 3. The missing entry level.
Now, with this rapid evolution comes a pretty sobering emotional reality, especially for young professionals and recent college grads who are just trying to get their foot in the door. We're seeing a severe drop in the kinds of roles that used to be the training ground for junior workers. For instance, software development job postings plummeted by 53% from late 2022. And according to Stanford researchers, there's been a 16% decline in early career employment across AI-exposed roles. Companies are quickly realizing that the highly structured, repetitive tasks they'd normally hand to entry-level workers, the exact stuff we all used to cut our teeth on, are exactly what Agentic AI is best at. The training wheels of corporate America are being systematically removed.
This quote from Yale Insights perfectly captures the profound threat we're looking at.
The biggest impact will not be the layoffs we can see. It will be the opportunities that never materialize. Just let that sink in for a second. It's the silent closing of doors. Instead of these massive headline-grabbing layoffs that get everyone outraged, companies are simply freezing their entry-level hiring. They're dramatically scaling up their output without growing their junior headcount. That effectively shuts out an entire generation of aspiring workers before their careers even get off the ground. It really forces us to ask, how will the next generation of leaders ever learn the ropes?
Section 4. When agents hire humans.
All right, let's move to a concept that seriously sounds straight out of a sci-fi novel. Look at this stark contrast between the traditional and the inverted economy. In the traditional world, humans hired humans to do work. Simple enough. But in this new inverted economy, we're actually seeing the rise of AI agents hiring humans for gigs. Imagine setting up a high-level autonomous system. That system effortlessly crushes 95% of the heavy lifting. But for that remaining 5%, the messy, unpredictable edge cases of the physical world, the AI hits a wall. So what does it do? It automatically posts a task to a gig marketplace. A human completes it, and the AI verifies it. Humans are essentially becoming the API calls that agents use to interact with reality. Wild, right?
Just imagine getting a ping on your phone, not from your manager, but from an AI agent asking you to physically drive to a site to verify hardware integrity. So what do these gigs actually look like? Well, a vast underclass of workers will be tasked with validating what the agents simply can't handle. It might be a human verifying the exact intent and nuance of an AI-drafted legal contract, or maybe performing a clinical sanity check on an AI-generated medical diagnosis. It could even be judging the subtle emotional tone of a marketing campaign to make absolutely sure it doesn't offend anyone. The agent delegates, and the human bridges the gap.
Section 5. The Human Advantage. Now, I know this inverted economy stuff can sound pretty daunting, but let's pivot to the deeply uplifting part of the shift. Because by recognizing exactly what AI can do, we also perfectly define what makes us fundamentally irreplaceable. Stanford's Salt Lab data shows something genuinely beautiful about our workforce. When surveyed across over 100 occupations, workers don't actually want total automation. In almost half the tasks analyzed, 47.5% to be exact, workers actively prefer a higher level of human agency than experts say is technologically necessary. We deeply desire an equal collaborative partnership with our digital teammates. We want to stay in the loop because we inherently understand the unique, irreplaceable value of our own presence and intuition.
And let me tell you, these are the skills that carry a massive premium right now. We're shifting away from basic information processing, which is now super cheap and abundant, toward deeply human organizational skills. We're talking interpersonal coordination, profound contextual judgment, and complex problem solving. But perhaps most importantly, it's having the taste and the aesthetic to teach an AI what better actually means. In practice, that means having the empathy to look at 3 technically perfect AI-generated outputs and instinctively knowing which one will actually resonate with a human client. AI can generate 1,000 options in a single minute, but you provide the direction, the taste, and the emotional resonance. These are the exact traits that elevate you from being managed by an algorithm to managing the entire system yourself.
Section 6. Becoming the AI Architect. Which leads us to the absolute most empowering takeaway of this whole explainer. How do you actually become the AI architect? First off, you've got to recognize the tangible reward here. Data from PwC reveals there is a staggering 56% salary premium for workers with AI skills. 56%. And that premium is widening every single day. The gap between those who leverage these tools and those who just ignore them is compounding so rapidly. By stepping up and leaning into this transition, you drastically increase your economic value in a market that desperately needs people who can orchestrate these technologies, rather than simply competing against them.
So here is your conversational, step-by-step playbook to make that transition. Step 1, start small, like this week. Identify just one repetitive workflow in your current job and automate it end-to-end. Don't sweat it if it's not perfect, just get it running. Step 2, over the next month, challenge yourself to build a complete agentic system that handles a full process, maybe something like lead generation or market research. And step 3, stack those agents. Create systems where your agents actually manage other agents. Suddenly you transition from being an overwhelmed task doer to the high-level manager of a tireless digital workforce that executes your vision flawlessly.
As this brilliant quote perfectly reminds us, you do not scale by hiring, you scale by deploying. In this new era, your curiosity and your AI fluency are the ultimate compounding forces of wealth creation. Treating every new AI capability as a building block rather than just a passing novelty is exactly what separates the elite economy from the desperation economy. Look, every time you successfully automate a task, you free up your mind to tackle higher-level strategy and deeper human connection. Your worth is no longer tied to how many hours you clock, but rather how many digital agents you could effectively manage and deploy.
I want to leave you with one lingering thought today. We've spent our entire lives letting our corporate titles define who we are. But when the machine can do the mechanical parts of your job better, faster, and cheaper, that illusion completely shatters. And honestly, that's actually a profound gift. When your job title no longer dictates your worth, how will you choose to redefine your human value? The tools are here, the door is wide open, and the next step is entirely up to you. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep building, and I'll catch you next time.